You are not losing your mind. You are not going crazy. What you're experiencing is something normal, because when you're having an anxiety or a panic attack, of course your mind will be racing a million times per hour, and it can feel like you are losing your mind, you're out of control, and it can cause you to feel hopeless. But the good news is that this is normal. This is what happens when we are in adrenaline. Our body is pumping chemicals and drugs throughout all of your brain, throughout all of your body, and that's why it's so overwhelming. The good news is that in this video, we'll explore 5 practical exercises that you can use in the middle of an anxiety or panic attack that will help you to transform that excessive chaotic energy into more calm, so that you can feel empowered. Hey, welcome if you're new here. My name is SolTara. I'm a medium and I share alchemy practices from Atlantis and from ancient Egypt. If that resonates with you, I invite you to subscribe. I used to have panic and anxiety attacks, and they were so bad that I couldn't even go to the grocery store. Going to the grocery store would immediately trigger a panic attack. And so I'm telling you this from experience. I know how horrible it feels, like you're losing your mind, like you literally feel like you're going crazy. And I'm telling you that there is light at the end of the tunnel. You got this. Using these 5 different practical techniques right before the anxiety attack is starting and in the middle of one will help you to make sure that they decrease in the length and in the intensity. So the first thing you're going to do is you are going to become a traffic officer. What do I mean by that? So you are going to start to direct the excessive energy away from your mind and into your body, because your mind and your body are always talking to each other. It's nonstop communication, even though we're not aware of it. They're always communicating. So how are you going to become a traffic officer? By doing jumping jacks. That's the first tip. Because think about if there's traffic jam or an accident in your local highway. What do? They put up the cones and make sure that everyone's safe and everyone goes around. And so what we want to do is we don't want the excessive adrenaline from the panic attack, from the anxiety attack to go into the brain, because your brain is already thinking about all of the 100 million scenarios happening. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna redirect that traffic, that energy, that adrenaline into the body. And jumping jacks is one of the easiest way to do this, because it gets all of your limbs involved. It also gets you to jump, and jumping is one of the fastest ways to release excess energy throughout all of your body and your energy field. This is really simple, but it truly works because it allows the adrenaline to be released in a healthy way. So after you've done, let's say about 20 to 30 jumping jacks, whatever feels healthy for you, then what you can do as an extra tip is do some wall push-ups, or do some real push-ups if you can, or do knee push-ups. Why is this good? Because your muscles will start to contract and secrete energy and chemicals as well, which will automatically make you feel better. There is so many drugs inside of your muscles, but most of the time we're sitting, our bodies aren't moving, and that's why we feel anxious, because your body is designed to move. Is your body designed to be sitting 12 hours a day? No, it's not. So of course you're anxious. It's natural. Remember, this is a computer that you have. This is a powerful piece of technology, the mind and the body. And if you really learn to harness this powerful piece of technology, you will be able to be healthier and live with more joy. So do some push-ups to transform that hopelessness that is resulting from that panic attack into empowerment, because you will not only feel strong after doing some push-ups, but also remember, there will be different chemicals secreted from your muscles whenever they contract. The second thing you're going to do is you're going to breathe in a very specific way. We want to stimulate your vagus nerve. Your vagus nerve is the longest cranial nerve that goes all the way from the back of your head down all the way to the bottom of your spine. So it is touching all of your organs, all of your major energy centers known as the chakras. if we can stimulate this nerve, again, this is like biohacking. Once you stimulate your vagus nerve, your body automatically starts to become more relaxed. Why? Because the vagus nerve is responsible for regulating your fight or flight response. Maybe the panic attack is triggered by what someone said to you. So someone saying something to you is not a life-threatening situation. However, your brain interprets it that way. So that's why we have to hack the vagus nerve so that your brain starts to interpret this as like, oh, this is actually not life-threatening. And so that information gets sent to your brain, and your brain starts to stop having those overwhelming thoughts. The way that you're going to breathe is you're going to inhale for 5 seconds. So do it with me right now. Breathe in from your belly. Hold for 6 seconds. And gently exhale out for 7 seconds. So you're breathing for 5, holding for 6, and exhaling out for 7 seconds. It's easy to remember, that's why I'm saying 5, 6, 7. The most important thing is that you exhale out longer than you inhale, because that's what stimulates your vagus nerve. Doing this type of breathing after you do your jumping jacks, after you do your push-ups, will help you to transform all that anxiety. By this point, it should only be 2 to 3 minutes, and you'll notice that your anxiety will be reduced by at least 80%. The third thing that you can do in the moment is start to hum or sing for 2 minutes. This is another way to stimulate the vagus nerve in the fastest way. So we don't want to be stressed in the moment thinking about what song should I sing. So have a go-to song. Think about your favorite song that immediately like shifts your mood. So you can start to sing that song, or you can hum that song. You can even create a playlist so that you're prepared for whenever these situations are going to happen. So one of the most important things that we can do is honestly prepare for anxious situations. So for example, maybe there's a natural disaster that's coming into your city, and you're afraid and it's triggering some anxiety. Or maybe it's a presentation at work, or maybe it's a difficult conversation that you have to have in your relationship. So do this humming or singing for at least 2 minutes beforehand, so that you can be more calm. Because if your mind is going to be flooded with thoughts, it's going to be flooded with the drugs and chemicals rushing from the adrenaline, then you're not going to be able to have clear conversation. You won't be able to make clear decisions and calm decisions and the best decisions in that situation. This is why even police officers, even military personnel, first aid responders, they are taught these practices, because you have to really be resilient in your mental resilience and your emotional resilience. And as we're entering this next 5 years of human evolution of consciousness, we are going to need to be more resilient, because more transformation will be coming our way. And the number one thing that we have to do is we have to become a master of our minds, rather than allowing our minds to master us. So let's say that you did all of those 3 things and you're still feeling anxious, you're not really fully feeling settled yet, then you're going to jump into the shower and take a cold shower. If you cannot shower, let's say this happens to you at work, or maybe it's while you're driving, splash some water on your face. Why do we use water? Water is a magnetic element, and our thoughts are electric. So whenever you have a thought, even you listening to my voice, this creates a firing of neurons in your brain, and neurons are fired with electricity. And so when we have excessive thoughts, that creates excessive electric energy in your brain. The way that we balance that is with magnetic energy. Magnetic energy and electric energy balance each other out. This is something that we explore in depth in alchemy, because in alchemy we focus on the foundational principles of what creates all energy across the universe, non-material and material If you're unable to take a shower, then splash some cold water in the back of your neck. The back of your neck is where all of that information is getting sent from your body into your brain. And so remember, you're gonna become a traffic officer by putting this cold water in the back of your neck so that it slows down the flush of thoughts and the flush of adrenaline by doing this. Ideally, you would be taking a cold shower because cold sort of helps you to return back into your body, right? Like you get shocked by cold water, and we want to shock the body to take us out of the brain and take us out of our excessive overwhelming thoughts into the body. So try to take a cold shower if possible. If not, then splash your face or the back of your neck with water. This last tip, number 5, is the most important one for me because when I would have my anxiety and panic attacks, I would feel hopeless. I would feel like a complete failure, like I couldn't even control my own mind. I couldn't even control my own emotional responses. I couldn't control anything. And so that made me feel hopeless and disempowered. So tip number 5 is you are going to do something that makes you feel empowered. So think about a talent that you have. Maybe you're an amazing drawer, or maybe you're an amazing singer, or maybe you're really good at something else, like you're a great cook. Go and do that thing. Even if you can't do that specific thing like draw a cartoon or make a meal in that moment, just take a moment to do the breathing, the 5 in, hold for 6, and exhale for 7. Do a few of those breaths, at least 3 rounds, and then just take a moment to close your eyes and think about you doing that thing. Like think about the last time you drew a really beautiful picture or you cooked a really delicious meal. Because again, remember, your brain is so powerful and it will start to create and release those drugs and chemicals in your heart and in your mind. So you will automatically start to change your emotions into empowerment. The other thing that you can do is you can write a list down of what are the things that you can actually control about the situation. So our focus is to call our power back, to call our energy back. And I found that when I was dealing with my own anxiety, and I was dealing with severe anxiety for at least a year and a half, like very severe anxiety. And what I did is I would write things down and I would notice I would immediately start to feel better. And that's just because we have so many thoughts. I have to do this. What about this other thing? What about this other thing? But when I wrote it down on paper, it helped me to see, oh, okay, this is everything I have to do. And I no longer have to carry those worries in my head because those worries are already written down, or those things I have to do are already written down. And these are very simple things, but it's the most simple things that are the most powerful. We don't need to get complicated into so many different 15-step practices. Just focus on what works for you. Let me know in the comments, is there something else that you found has helped you manage your anxiety and your panic attacks? These are just the in-the-moment solutions. What you have to do is you have to get to the root cause. If you truly want to break free of these limitations of anxiety, fear, and the crippling worrying, you have to identify the root cause. And that requires you to do deep inner work. So I'm going to share a bit about my own healing journey in hopes that it inspires you and you can get some benefit from it. I struggled with severe anxiety. The severe anxiety turned into depression. I started to then get stomach ulcers, and then I started to get insomnia. So it was this vicious cycle of dis-ease. And I was going to therapy for a few years by that point, and therapy has its place. And it was helpful in the moment to speak it out. However, as I left the therapist's office, all of these things would just keep coming into my mind, into my consciousness. And so since therapy wasn't working for me, I started turning to alcohol, to drugs, and I would be blacking out regularly. One day I woke up in my apartment. I had no idea how I got there. The night before, I had gone out partying with my friends and I had blacked out, which was something that I was normally doing. because I was in so much pain. And so originally I thought that the pain, the anxiety was coming from the fact that I had just graduated college, I entered the real world, you know, I got my first job, I moved across the country to San Francisco, and so I was going through these identity changes. I moved to a new city, I got my first job, and I thought I was dealing with all of these different changes. That was the cause of my anxiety. That's what I was perceiving. But it wasn't until I discovered alchemy that I identified the root cause of my anxiety. For me, it was being sexually abused as a child. That was the root cause of me not feeling safe in my body, and why my mind had to go on overdrive to try to keep me safe all the time. And so unfortunately, you know, it takes so many years for therapy to get to that root cause, and that's why now I teach people how to heal their root cause through alchemy. And I want to share this story of one of my students who she was also dealing with panic attacks. I've been working on healing the past version of me for a year. I joined the academy and the healing process became more profound and faster. And with this last panic attack, I felt it was releasing this disease for good. Like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, I know that when you're in the moment with the anxious thoughts, with the overwhelming feeling of hopelessness and feeling like nothing's gonna change, you're stuck in the middle of the fog and you don't really see a clear way out. Know that there is a clear way out, and you have the medicine for that. And that medicine is not externally. It's not in a drug, it's not in alcohol, it's not in me, it's not in a pill, it's inside of you. And you have to be courageous and look inside of you to access that medicine. And it would be my honor to support you on that journey. In the Alchemy Academy, I walk you step by step of how to safely explore that root cause, because sometimes it can be traumatic. Sometimes it won't be as traumatic as it was for me discovering that it was sexual abuse for me, but it could be something else for you. And we do that very safely to make sure that it doesn't unlock any other unnecessary pain for you along the way. This is what that same student who was dealing with panic attacks said. Soul was saying that our journey is going to accelerate. I was feeling annoyed by that accelerated term itself because I love a slow pace. If I wouldn't have been tracking all of the things that happened to me in only 11 months, I wouldn't be able to fully be aware of all of my healings, growth, new self-discoveries, family healings, synchronicities, etc. I must say, thank you, soul, for a slow-paced acceleration. This work would have taken me years. Actually, in the first lesson of the Alchemy Academy, I tell students, get ready because your life is going to accelerate. And that's because in alchemy, we focus on transforming our blocks. And fear, anxiety, self-doubt, pain, all of these things are dense. They're not negative emotions, they're just dense emotions, and they're heavy. And when you release them, that's when you start to become lighter and life starts to move faster for you. If you're looking to accelerate your healing journey, just like Christina and I did with alchemy, you can get more details about the Alchemy Academy in the description of this video. Thank you for your comments, thank you for your likes. Let me know, are there any other helpful things that help you move out of an anxiety attack? Drop them in the comments so it helps all of the people watching this video. One of the reasons that causes us to experience anxiety is because sometimes we pick up energy from other places, other people, and other environments. And you can watch this video here that teaches you how to practice energy cleansing so that you're not holding on to all of this. I will see you in the next video. Much love.